So the question is, should you let a buyer move into the home prior to closing and just pay you rent or things like that? Let me give you a situation. So the buyers submit an offer on your home, and it's a great offer. You guys get, you accept the offer, and halfway through, before closing, you get a call from your realtor, and they say, hey, the buyers, their current living situation fell through, and they're just curious if they can move in. The home is vacant right now. Say you moved on and you bought another house, so the home's vacant. Hey, they just want to move in early. The contract is strong, and they'll pay you rent. We can write up a lease agreement, and it's all strong and good to go. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, these buyers have been good. They were pretty good through negotiations. They're pretty reasonable people. Maybe you've known them prior to the situation, and so you think that, you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, the contracts are good, and I want to be a team player here, and so you let them do it. I am here to say that that is an awful idea. I very adamantly encourage you to never, ever let a buyer move into the home before closing, even if they're paying rent. Worse yet, if they're not paying rent. So there are countless reasons for this. And number one, what if? Okay, what if so buyers may be your best friend one day, and they flip a switch like this. I see it happen all the time. They flip a switch, something goes wrong, or they ask for, hey, can we have $200 tip for closing, whatever, and you say no, and boom, a switch is flipped immediately, and they become your worst nightmare. You are putting yourself up for you're opening yourself up for liability if you are allowing people to rent your property. So you're opening yourself up to liability that you or your agent probably don't even know about. And the contracts may seem strong, but the bottom line is that if the buyers decide, no, say for instance their financing falls through, and so now they can't close on the home, or the home sale is delayed. This seems to happen quite a bit more when the home buyers are already living in the property. For some reason, it's very strange that happens, because the buyers have no motivation to close the property because they already live in the home. And so they try to push the contracts back. They don't really care. Sometimes they aren't even paying rent because you're a nice guy, and they end up taking advantage of you. And they push the contracts back, even if it's not their fault. Say the buyers are completely not at fault, and still the contracts get pushed back. Financing is not right, or something comes up, and you're in a pretty bad situation at that point. When you decide, or if you decide, nope, it's done, it's enough, we want to move on to another buyer, we don't think you can close on this property, and they say no, then you're in a really bad situation, because they're tenants. They are at your property, and your only legal option is to evict them. You have to evict them. And in Washington, that is not an easy process. That is, that can take up to 6 months. That can take thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you've been a landlord, you know that when people are getting evicted, they have nothing left to lose, and they're not super happy. So when they leave, they trash the place. Okay, that doesn't happen all the time. Happens a majority of the time, I'd say. They trash the place when they leave, if you're evicting someone. If you know the person in advance, their family members, their neighbors, their old friends, the answer is still absolutely not. I would run, not walk. I would run away from this situation, because you are risking so much. You do not have an obligation to let them move in prior to closing. You do not. And it's not even about you, oh, you're being so mean, you're not being fair. It's about you covering your butt and protecting yourself against liability, against possibly risking tens and tens of thousands of dollars, not closing in time, not closing at all, having huge issues. Any time. So buyers, every single time, sellers say, oh, these buyers are great. They think, oh, this would never happen with these buyers. It's different. Oh, their family members, this will never happen. It happens every single day where family members flip that switch, good friends flip that switch, or just buyers, just random buyers, they'll flip that switch. And guess what? There's scams out there where buyers literally do this just so they can live in a home for extended periods of time before they get kicked out, because they can drag it out, 6 months. They can drag it out 6 months before you can finally evict them, especially during COVID, where uncertain times, you had this eviction ban a while back. Things like this do happen. If you are a seller and a situation like this comes up, I implore you to run, not walk. This is Gabriel with Haven Real Estate Group. Please visit my website, GabrielModermanRealestate.com.